Hello everybody, John here, and today onto the garage we're going to do an air filter change on Blue, the X358. Well, first discovery, we're missing a mount down here that should be holding the airbox in. It's just thrashing around. So we might have to do something about that. Push back these two lugs, lift the top. Okay, so we're going to get the air filter off. First thing we need to do is just disconnect the MAF connector. And that should be as easy as lifting this little piece. There's a loop stops you lifting it too far. And off that comes. It should have a blue seal. There's a second MAF sensor, if yours is a twin turbo diesel as well, just down this side here. So you want to do the same and just pull that one off. And undo this Jubilee clip that connects the airbox to the air intake. Just remember you've got one on the bottom pipe as well, which hopefully somebody's left you in a decent position to disconnect. If you've got an Instra mount or bracket down here, obviously undo this bolt, but otherwise, because mine hasn't got that, the airbox is actually loose. I'm always quite pleased when I find things that aren't well fitted or leaking or this sort of thing. Like this seal doesn't look like it's doing much, because what you know then is when you put it back together properly, you may have found a bit of performance improvement or get rid of a problem that was not obvious enough to cause you any grief yet. Whereas if you take it all apart, it's all been perfect, you're only changing the air filter. It's coming. Right, we're off the bottom. And we're off the top. Now, if I can just turn this round for you. Little pipe that goes into the bottom of the airbox, you can easily reach around and grab. And finally wrestled the thing out. Woo. So, look at the filter. See, it's bulging, which is a bit odd, as if it's grown, or just looking down here before I move anything. I do love a bit of forensic mechanicking. Look, can you see in that gap? I don't know if you can. Something's jammed in it, probably filter material. But that's, look, just horrendously badly fitted. This has been fitted through the gap at this end rather than taking the top off like I have, I think. Look at the state of that. So, badly fitted by somebody who didn't take care, which also meant that it was never sealing, and quite evidently hasn't been changed for quite some time. It's not the worst filter I've ever seen, but there's a lot of debris in it. Okay. So, that's of no use to anybody. That's going to the bin. Let's have a little look at the airbox, and you see that it's filthy. But at least it is filthy on that side. That's the dirty side of the airbox. And its air intake is coming from here, just behind the headlights. And here we can see where I should have had a mounting, but I haven't. I'm just going to maneuver this out of its home. It's just hooked up on something at the moment. There we go. We're out. So that's our air intake. Port there, don't know what that's for. And there's a lug which should be fitted into something, but I cannot see. So are we missing an element? Possibly. The job I'm doing, as you've seen, you didn't need to remove this panel, but I am going to remove it now because I want to do a little bit of cleaning while I'm in here, as is my special way, and B, it makes it a little easier to film for you guys. So spin these plastic cross-headed things anti-clockwise, and when they become loose, pull up, preferably on the base part rather than the head, but it can be hard to get your fingernails under. And you should be able to pull this straight up and away. We can lift this panel away. Okay, let's have ourselves a little look round. Just stop my light flashing. There are the two intake pipes shooting off in opposite directions, and there's a really convoluted route they take, all to do with packaging, basically down and back and under to feed turbochargers. Radiator pack, I should say, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 radiators there stacked. Here's the headlight bay, for want of a better word, and the area where the airbox was sitting, I should say. And we've got some alley pipes and some rubber pipes, all packaged and bundled very tightly in there. Densely packed at the front. One thing I'd like to note is where the engine sits in these vehicles. Despite this being a quite traditional looking saloon, obviously Jaguars are known for their handling and their poise as much as anything else. They are remarkable the way they're handled despite their size. And it's hard to actually see on a lot of these vehicles the engine properly, but at this stage you can. And here, whoops, let's call that the front of the engine. This is the basically the timing cover. And if you measure forward to the front of the car, oops, that is a fraction under 700 mil to the front of the car. Now let's translate that into the side view. If I position the tape, you might have to trust me a little bit, guys. Put it on the floor. Let's just position that level with the number plate. Yep. 700 is there. So that's there on the wheel. That is where the front of the engine lies. So, yeah, long car, big overhangs, all the rest. But the engine is actually tucked really well back. To the extent, you know, it's inside the bulkhead, under the top of the dash almost. Giving it poise that the looks would not suggest. It's certainly no Audi. Audi's renowned for having the engine right behind the grille. This area is exposed. I'm going to do a bit of hoovering, a little bit of cleaning and tidy up. Okay, so we've pushed a grommet into that gap in the airbox, which means it's got a rubber flange underneath and it's not going to be metal to metal. But unlike the bobbin I was going to fit, it keeps the profile a lot lower. So, okie dokie dad. We've cracked that now. Right, that's going to go on top of that. Now what we're going to do is put the new air filter in and then just wriggle the whole thing back into place. Air filter, air filter. There it is. The old one.
The filters go, it doesn't look too bad, does it?
So it's not the filthiest I've seen, but
No.
if you like pin it open,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff in the base.
Yeah. I mean, it's well used.
And it was all mangled at that end. That bit was sticking out the airbox.
Oh, well. Yeah. I'm going to try to push it down.
That's from British Parts. Ordered yesterday, came today. And unlike the old one, that fits. The old one sort of stuck up in the middle like it was too long.
Yeah.
Maybe we've got a bad one. It's the same brand and everything. Right, the way to fit these is get them holes on these. So you're going to position them. At the same time, now I've got to hook that.
Yeah.
So it might be a case, yeah. I think what I'll do
Lift it up.
is unbolt this and bolt this in last.
Lift it up,
Okay, that feels better.
yeah.
Can you see them fingers or not?
Yeah, can you see that one? Yeah.
Okay.
And that looks like 2 in.
And that should mean it's clipped in.
Yeah. That's as really
That's good. So now I just manoeuvre my head to see them pipes. He's on.
Yeah.
I think
You can't quite
I
go.
think I've got it. Moving it slowly.
Land a bit. Yeah, got it.
We're on. Okay. Just to be extra clear, although I went through a right paraphernalia to change this air filter, that was because I was exploring and wanted to get underneath here, clean up, put the rubber mount in, etc, etc. But in future, if you want to change your air filter, just clip, clip, and lift this to the extent that you can pop the filter out this comes.